Investigators have identified a crime scene where 7 men believed to be artisanal miners were shot and killed. The bodies were dumped on Putfontein Road in Benoni on Gauteng's East Rand. Emergency services personnel says one of the deceased was burnt beyond recognition, while the other 6 were partially burnt with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to their upper body. Let's get an update on the story. We're across to our reporter, Chriselda Lewis. Very good afternoon to you, Chriselda. What alerted police to that crime scene and what's happening there now?
Well, Nzinga, you'd recall yesterday that some passer-bys had seen those 7 bodies lying here on the side of the road here at the Putfontein Road on-ramp, and basically had alerted police to their discovery. And since yesterday, you've had crime scene investigators, including at this hour, continuing to comb the scene. There have been now for the past couple of hours that we have been here. A canine dog was also brought in to try and comb this area behind me for any clues on what led to the death of these 7 men. Well, police not saying at this stage, or not able to confirm whether these indeed were illegal miners, but this area here behind me extremely prone to illegal mining activity. In fact, this is at this particular place. It's not the first time that the bodies of what is believed to be dead illegal miners has been found. Authorities in this part of Gauteng have been grappling for several years now to deal with the issue of illegal mining. So the canine dogs were brought in together with crime scene investigators, and just about 2 hours ago now, you had them identify what seems to be the actual place where the men were shot dead, which means that all indications are at this stage that they were shot just here behind me, behind that mine that you see there, where you have quite a number of holes that are opened where illegal miners would go underground and spend several weeks to several months in search of gold. And they managed to find several secondary scenes as well. We were not allowed to go to that particular area, but what we understand is that several bullet casings were found there. So that indicates then that the men were shot right behind me towards the area there. But their bodies were then taken from there and dumped here on the side of the road. That's what the indication is at this stage. So police were also checking whether there were any other bodies that they were going to find, but it doesn't seem like there are any bodies that they found while they were combing the scene. Let's check now to William Ntladi, who's with the Ekurhuleni Emergency Services. Thank you very much indeed for your time, William. Just talk us through. It seems like these crime scene investigators that were brought in are almost done with this section of the work they were doing. No other bodies were found. That's according to my understanding.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely that gives emergency services also a leeway a bit, because we are here as well as emergency services just to check if ever there were some other bodies which were not actually brought here on the actual incident where the 7 bodies were placed and found. So with the survey from the SABC and with the K9 unit that went through basically the bigger part of this area behind us, it showcased that now, at least for now, we can confirm to say it's only 7 that have been identified here yesterday. So we're hoping that now that's the last one. And thanks for the SABC and with all the units that came up here, that now they've managed to survey the area and made in a certain that now there's no other hidden areas or bodies that are unidentified. So
it looks like the bodies were carried from the actual crime scene to here the side of the road, because just eavesdropping a bit, I heard that several bullet casings were found towards the far right, towards the mine over there.
Yes, we actually, when our paramedics were busy with the patient assessment and medical treatment, we identified those bullet wounds on the bodies, and part of them, some of the patients were partly burnt as well, except the one whom we also found that now he was basically burnt beyond recognition. So, and we hope that now as per reports that we got from our colleagues SAPS, that now that incident whereby those cartridges were identified will be able to lead towards resolving this case, as it is basically a crime scene.
Right, thank you very much indeed for your time, William Mhladi. Thanks for being with us throughout the course of the morning. William Mhladi with the Ekurhuleni Emergency Services. So officially at this stage, no more bodies have been found here at this crime scene, but what the South African Police Service, crime investigators, as well as the K9 unit have managed to find is the actual scene where it's believed now the men were shot and killed, and then their bodies were brought here to the side of the road in Putfontein, the Putfontein on-ramp, where their bodies were dumped, and one, as you heard, there was burnt beyond recognition. So a major concern, I think, for authorities in Nzinga in this part of Gauteng, where illegal mining continues to be a major problem. And this is not the first kind of incident that we've reported on as SABC News. It is ongoing, where the speculation would perhaps be that this might be linked to some kind of turf wars that are ongoing whenever there are issues pertaining to illegal mining activity. So how police are going to be able to deal with that certainly still remains to be seen, but we're expecting the next few moments for them to pull out. Let me just show you here towards this direction some forensics also being brought in at this time. They just were roped in just a few moments ago. But I think more surprisingly, Nzinga, is that if you look towards that direction there, you would see towards the right one person walking there who seems to have a torch on his head from where I'm standing, pointing to exactly what is taking place in this area, where you have illegal mining persistent despite the dangers that are associated by it. A little bit later on in our bulletins here on SABC News, I will tell a story of several who I've spoken to, that despite this gruesome discovery that was made here at the Putfontein off-ramp, they continue to walk through these fields, continue to go underground, spend hours, days or even months underground, because they say that's the only way they're able to put food on the table. So Nzinga, I'll hand it back to you at the moment.